Hi everybody, and welcome to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. For today's first video, I've got some great stories for you guys, and the first one has an update. So if you want to get started with the stories, then just use the timestamps below the video. Now, I would like to thank all of you that support me in so many different ways, like being a YouTube member, a Twitch subscriber, or even donating during the live streams. Your support means a lot to me, so thank you very much. And if this is the first time watching one of my videos and you like it, then consider subscribing to the channel and joining us on Discord. Now let's get started with today's stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's from user BarelyDad. Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter the truth about why I wasn't in her life? To start, my ex and I were 19 when she got pregnant. We had recently broke up and she found out a couple of weeks later that she was pregnant. She said she planned to get an abortion but only wanted her sister there. So I was always under the belief that she had aborted. She only contacted me once saying it was done and we didn't speak again. Fast forward 19 years later, I found out a month ago that was a lie. My ex passed away 3 years ago and my daughter, Kara, has been living with her uncle. He was the one to reach out to give me a heads up after she expressed an interest in wanting us to connect. He and I spoke at length because I was feeling some pretty strong emotions, like rage, for never being told about her. My ex had backed out of the abortion but didn't want me involved because we were broken up, so decided just not to tell me. But he told me that Kara doesn't know about that. Apparently, I wasn't ready for fatherhood because we were both young, so I bailed. I couldn't believe it. Rob, her uncle, told me he knows his sister was wrong for that, but promised Kara doesn't have any negative feeling towards me, and my ex never painted me as some villain, just a young guy who knew he couldn't properly care for her. He asked me not to tell Kara this when we talk if she asks, and because it could hurt the way she saw her mom. I never actually confirmed I would. Kara messaged me and we've been talking. I've met her twice and it's been crazy emotional. Looking at this girl who looks just like me and hurting that we're just barely getting to know each other. So far, our conversations have only been about what her life was like, how my life is, what her wants and future goals are, and getting to know each other. We met again Tuesday and she finally decided to ask the obvious questions about what made me not be involved. How did I feel? What went through my mind? Did I ever think about her, etc.? I had been thinking about what to do, but in that moment, I just didn't have it in me to lie, so I was honest. That I was told about the abortion, had no idea she even existed until now, but that I still really want to be in her life and have the chance to be her father if she wants that. Kara was a bit emotional. We talked some more and said she still wants me involved. That night, my messages were blowing up, not just from Rob, but her grandparents as well. They're all outraged for telling Kara about her mom because she yelled at all of them and is refusing to even take their calls. Yes, the lie was terrible, but I just ruined the image she had of her late mother for my own benefit. Rob called me a selfish D for not taking into consideration how this would affect Kara finding out about this. So now I feel like crap. I get it, honesty is the best policy. But in this case, I don't know if I was an a-hole for doing it. I'm still learning this whole dad business, so don't know if I dropped the ball here. I might be the a-hole for telling my daughter the truth, but ruining the image she had of her late mother. Okay, OP, but what were they expecting you to do? To lie for your ex just because she passed away? Here's how I see it. She's the one that lied to her daughter. She's the one that robbed you of the option of wanting to be or not in your daughter's life. Her uncle and grandparents went along with that lie, so Kara is absolutely right to be upset with all of them. Starting a relationship with your daughter based on a lie is not the thing you want to do, because let's face it, lies have short legs. You would have had to make up a whole story as to why you didn't want to be in her life. It is not, and it was never, your responsibility to hold up a lie told by somebody else just to save her image. I'm sorry, but your ex effed up on this one because she lied, not you. So my judgment is not the a-hole. What do you guys think? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and let's move on with the community judgment to see what they said. AmsLove123 says, not the a-hole. Your ex lied. Your ex created this mess. I'm sorry she has passed, but she did this. You have no obligation to continue a lie you had no part of. Your daughter deserved the truth. Gruntled Organizer says, you said fast forward 19 years later? So your daughter is 19 now? She's an adult and deserves to know the truth. You should not be expected to make yourself out to be a deadbeat dad just to avoid tainting the memory of her mother, not the a-hole. Reverend Dunkle Bastard said, not the a-hole. The people who lied to her for her entire life are to blame for her being upset at the lies. You are not obligated to take the heat for the lies of others. I do hope you are planning on staying in her life now. It would be crappy to drop that info and disappear. But if you stick around, she deserves to know the truth and that your newly found connection isn't built on a lie from the start. And Opie responds, I intend to be in her life. It makes me very sad that I already missed out on so much and I want the opportunity to build something with her. It would be awful to just leave when there's finally a chance to be her father. Well, the community has said not the a-hole, and of course I agree with them. Now, this post is from 2 months ago, and we have an update from yesterday. So let's move on with that and see what happened with Opie and Kara. I made this post a couple months back, and I wanted to share what's been going on. This was a really big mess, and thank you for all your reassurance, for telling me that Kara deserved to know the truth. There was still some guilt I carried with me for days until she called me again, now that she had time to process. Kara thanked me for being honest about what happened, and we had a deep conversation about what she's going through. She and her mom always had a very strained relationship, even until she passed away, so there was still a lot of anger and resentment she never got to have closure for. Now learning this new lie her mom told her about me, well, it opened a lot of other mixed feelings. She has been in therapy even before her mother died to deal with their issues, so Kara is working this out with someone, which I am happy to know. Many of you were suggesting therapy for her, so at least she already had that down. My daughter is still mad at her family. She talked to them a couple of times before stopping communication. Kara knows she'll forgive them eventually, but for right now, she says she wants them to live with the consequences, so hasn't had any contact with them. I did express my concern over her shutting them out, but she says it's not forever. She's still trying to process this betrayal and get to a place where she'll accept them back into her life. At the moment, she's still living with her friend and wants to keep it that way. So far, she's declined any financial help I offer. She just wants to work out her anger and let them sit with this a while. I had to do some blocking still for my own peace of mind. Things are a work in progress, but I'm happy to report that we're getting along fine. Kara's been over so many times and has met my fiance. We're learning so much about each other, even if sometimes it's hard not to get emotional over childhood memories she talks about knowing I couldn't be there for them. Still in the process of finding a therapist myself because this has been pretty heavy on me too and still have no idea what the hell I'm doing as a parent. Thanks for your words of encouragement and all the advice from fellow parents. I kept getting asked for an update on this, so sorry it took me a while to remember to post something. Well, OP, thanks so much for the update. It's great to know that you and Kara are okay. I think the way she's processing this whole thing is also really good and healthy. She's got the help of a therapist. The family needs to be on pause a little bit. They might be bitter, but that's on them, right? And you seem to be taking this whole thing pretty well and excited to be in her life. So all that there's left to say on my part is good for you both and all the best in the future. Take care. And on that note, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's from user CatAtonic1983. Boyfriend of 3 years just told me that he doesn't want to live with cats. Me, 37 female, and my boyfriend, 42 male, have been together for almost 3 years. I am a veterinary technician and have never lived a day in my life without at least one cat. When my boyfriend and I first met, I had 3 cats and he had 1 dog. In March 2020, we had to say goodbye to his dog, and then in March 2021, I said goodbye to one of my girls. Last weekend, we were supposed to sit down and talk about our future as a couple. These conversations have been attempted in the past without much progress of resolution. However, something he said this time completely blindsided me. He told me that his feelings about the cats have changed and that he does not want them in the house if we live together in the future. He says he is allergic, despite always seeming fine around them and caring for them during extended periods when I was in hospital. I am aware that his mother is severely allergic. He protested that if we have cats in the house that his mother will never be able to visit us. We live in the same city as his mother, so it is easy and always an option to visit her at her own house. He has also decided that he simply cannot live with the mess that comes with owning cats. His compromise was for me to keep them in a structure separate from the house and said that I can spend my time with them there. I have a problem with this for many reasons. Pets are family, and family belongs inside the home. I would like to be able to spend time both with my cats and my boyfriend and not have to divide my time between them. As a vet tech, I know that cats are extremely adept at hiding illnesses. Keeping them separate from the home would hinder my ability to notice the subtleties that may indicate an illness. I am at a loss. He knew when we first began dating that I am a cat person and owned 3. He knew that I am a veterinary technician and take my relationship with animals and their welfare extremely seriously. I have also most likely lost my opportunity to have children, so my pets are my children. I just don't know where to go from here. I'm racking my brain to try to come up with a compromise I could be okay with, but it feels like this is non-negotiable. P.S. I personally have terrible environmental allergies. I was tested as a child and spent several years on shots before discontinuing. About 5 years ago, they got bad again and I was retested. Lo and behold, I am now allergic to both dogs and cats and began immunotherapy. Post PS. Fun side fact. I work in veterinary allergy and dermatology. Some of my canine and feline patients are allergic to humans. Well, OP, I've got one question. Is the thing that he doesn't want to live with cats now a he thing, or is it his mom talking through him? I know you don't specifically say this, but I kinda got the impression that he had a conversation with his mom, and she complained that if you guys lived together, she wouldn't be able to visit at all because of the cats. Which is true because she's allergic. Also, I don't know if your mother-in-law is the one that makes unscheduled visits to her son, and that if he lives with you and the cats, it would definitely put a stop at these visits. However, you propose a very good counter-argument and compromise. You can always go visit at her house. And the other question I would pose is, since you're going through immunotherapy, is that something that he would be willing to go through if you guys agree on the compromise of only visiting his mom at her house? If none of this is viable in any way, then maybe the only solution you guys have is to come to terms with the fact that you are now incompatible, and maybe this means the end of the relationship. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what kind of advice they gave OP. Love Palm Trees says, fellow vet tech here, and I made it very clear from the beginning that a life with me was going to include pets. Specifically, I had 2 cats at the time. Flipping on that would be a deal breaker for me, and it sounds like it is for you too. Hold your ground, keep your cats, and ditch the guy if needed. I had to empty house for a little while and it was terrible. I didn't realize how much having pets actually improved my mental health, especially after having one of those days where it feels like every one of your patients was a losing battle. If you give up your critters for him, there's a good chance you'll end up just feeling miserable and resentful. That kind of relationship is doomed to fail anyway. Insane101 says, As no prior discussion has resolved the living together issue, this feels like a low-key way to ensure a breakup without having to do any heavy lifting, as it were. Even if it's not, there is little in the way of coming back from this demand, either no cats or cats and bad feelings. Neither sounds optimal. Amazing Still Seems says, that really sucks. Sounds like he was hoping you would eventually change your mind and perhaps value the relationship above having pets. I don't know how anybody would think that way, but I have encountered this idea that people will eventually move past certain interests or passions, instead of just understanding that people like what they like, and especially something like pets, which are more like family members to many people. That interest isn't going to go away. Similarly, some people aren't pet people and have never been, and that's fine to be, but this is an understandable deal breaker. His compromise isn't really a compromise. Well, the community made some very valid points, especially that second commenter that said that maybe this was a way of getting a breakup without having to do the heavy lifting. I hadn't thought about it that way, but I think it's a very valid point as well. Now, hopefully OP and her boyfriend can make the best decision possible. What do you think that'll be? Let me know what you think is going to happen here, and now let's move on to the next post. This is from the subreddit Today I Effed Up, and it's by user Duodeuterium. Today I effed up a romantic evening. On mobile, apologies for any formatting errors. Me and the wifey have been actively searching for jobs for the past 2 months. Darling wife lands a job as a waitress at one of our favorite restaurants. Aside from looking forward to a discount on empanadas, I decided to throw together a last-minute romantic evening for when she gets off. Make a great dinner, load up a bath with fragrance and bubbles, set the bedroom up with rose petals scattered on the bed and candles. The only thing lacking is the music selection. I can never choose good relaxing music, so she's the DJ of the house. Wife gets off work tired and hungry. Cue food and bathtub relaxation. Everything goes great. However, the lights were really dim from the candlelight in the bedroom when we rolled all over those rose petals. Our blankets are white. Hopping off the bed to grab some snacks and water, I flip the lights back on. Purple red stains all over the bed. Why? Why are rose petals sprinkled in a bedroom on every romantic movie a thing? Why did no one ever say, hey, you know what? We should use plain white daisies instead. I'm praying to Billy Mays as I pour in the OxiClean this morning. It's the only cover I have for our bed. And it wasn't cheap. Ouch. Well, OP, hopefully that OxiClean is going to help. If not, you would need to take a look into some home remedies for those kinds of stains. I am so sorry that happened, but lesson learned and point taken. If you're going to use rose petals and roll around over them, maybe use red covers? I don't know. I'm sorry, OP, that sucks. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I certainly did reading them to you. So if you did, then go ahead and give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become a member of our Discord community that just keeps growing, and it is fantastic. And like I said in the beginning of the video, all of the relevant links are in the video description below, so be sure to check them out. And finally, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys enjoy this content, so thank you once again. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.